Imagine being proud of having Ron Jeremy in your movie. Greetings friends and welcome back to the 3-Minute Horror Show. My name is Ben, your host, and I love horror movies. If you've been here before, you already know the drill. Welcome back. If you're new here though, the way these videos work is as follows. I give a little plot synopsis, I do a little commentary, I give the movie a rating, and hopefully I can make you laugh along the way. And remember, I watch the bad movies so that you don't have to. You're welcome. Today I will be reviewing the movie Blood Moon Rising from 2009. This is a Western horror hybrid film where an ancient witch rises from her grave in the 1960s in order to exact an evil curse and unleash an undead scourge upon the earth. Unless a hippie chick can stop her. Blood Moon Rising was the directorial debut of one Brian Skiba, who's described in the LA Times as a prolific genre filmmaker. And it looks like he's doing mainly Western, Christmas, and some horror films these days. This movie was written by Skiba and his wife Lori Love, who also plays the dual roles of Lucy and Sadie. Blood Moon Rising is not currently streaming in Canada, so if you want to watch it, you're going to have to find yourself a copy. Or don't. We start off in the Old West, in a small old western town focused on a cowboy that seems to run a mine. I don't know what they're mining for, that's not important. This fellow is married with a young daughter, and his wife just happens to be the daughter of the devil. If you were wondering which woman in town was his wife, well, she's the only person who's dressed like a mall goth in a town full of Wild West people. Anyways, this cowboy gives his daughter a fancy necklace for safekeeping or something. Then the wife walks over to a stump and pulls out her hidden Necronomicon. She's found that her husband is sleeping with the preacher's daughter, and she uses her book to curse the two of them. She turns her cowboy husband into a vampire, and the preacher's daughter into a werewolf, and when one of those two is eventually killed, the witch will rise again to summon hell on earth. The bad guy wife kills her own daughter as a sacrifice, and then is shot dead by the townsfolk. Her curse is set. There's not much to say about this crazy movie. I can't explain why the witch keeps her Necronomicon in a tree stump. That sounds like a bad idea. Yep. How's about instead we do a science lesson? A blood moon happens during a total lunar eclipse, when the Earth blocks the sun and the moon turns red because of the sunlight bending through Earth's atmosphere. Now you know, and knowing is half the battle. Now it's the 1960s, and there's a hippie concert on the night of a full moon. One of the hippies, a young woman named Sadie, is in attendance, and she just so happens to be the great-great-granddaughter of the bad guy boss wife, whose name was Lucy. How is this possible? Lucy killed her daughter and turned her husband into a vampire. Anyways, a werewolf attacks the concert goers, and a vampire cowboy tries to save them. Guess who they are? It doesn't seem to matter much though, as anyone the werewolf bites turns into a zombie. The vampire might have bit some people too, because there are also vampires there. That's not important though, just be aware that there are vampires, a werewolf, and a bunch of zombies. Aaron Neil Trout plays Daryl Lee, the comic book nerd virgin that you're about to meet in the next block of clips. This guy looks so much like the angry video game nerd that I can't unsee it. Yes! And then he opens his mouth and starts talking, and he sounds exactly like him too. Incredible. Sadie runs when the zombies attack and finds help from a virgin comic book nerd at a local soda shop. They team up and defeat the werewolf. This raises Lucy from the dead, and she takes control of the new vampire and zombie army. Will Sadie, her virgin friend, and a movie crew that just happens to be around, along with a vampire cowboy, be able to stop Lucy and the forces of hell? Oh yeah, convicted sex offender Ron Jeremy shows up as well, but thankfully he gets killed fast.
Right to jail.
They used a mix of CGI and practical effects in this movie, and the practical effects are mainly copious amounts of blood spray. The CGI though is very bad.
Yikes!
There are fart jokes, boob jokes, and poop jokes aplenty, but none of them are particularly clever or funny. Sadie carries a shotgun around, and every time she needs to reload, a shotgun shell pops out of her cleavage along with a funny little noise. That's the kind of humor we're dealing with here. The moral of the story is, never trust a Wild West mall goth. I rate Blood Moon Rising 4 out of 10. As always, a link to my letterbox will appear in the video's description. Please leave me a like, comment, and subscribe, as it really does boost my engagement and it helps my channel grow. Smell you later, nerds!
You two in some kind of trouble?